What is up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Here for another review, and today we're reviewing Spartacus Blood and Sand. We are on episode 6, entitled "Delicate Things." Man, this was a banger. This was a banger, guys. We had two major deaths. We also have Spartacus being reunited with his wife Sura. We have Spartacus laying out his plan of escape. We see Bodiatus's cruelty on full display in this episode. And Asher is revealed to be a two-faced, scheming, conniving son of a bitch cockroach. So yeah, we have all those reveals and everything going on in this episode. So guys, I ain't gonna even hold you with this intro. Let's waste no more time and let's go ahead and get into it. So, of course, the events of this episode take place immediately following the previous episode. So, we're coming back with Spartacus's Vic and Crixus. Don't forget my boy Crixus. But Spartacus and Crixus, they return back to the Ludus. The victory over Theocles. Everybody's ecstatic. Of course, Crixus is on the injury reserve list. He's going to be down for a while because my man took some vicious cut wounds from the Shadow of Death. However, Spartacus is there to take it all in for the both of them. And like I said, everybody's happy. Spartacus has just been announced as a new champion. And of course, Lucretia and Navy aren't too thrilled, even though they don't even, like I said, they don't realize that they're both sharing the same man. They're not happy that Spartacus has replaced Crixus as the champion. So with that going on, we also see, I like to say, we see a moment, genuine moment between Spartacus and Bodiatus, because with Spartacus and Crixus' victory, it brings the Ludus up, eclipsing Salonius. Like I said, we were really down bad when the season started, but we up right now. We up, and so Bodiatus is loving this. He's feeling great. And like I said, it appears to be genuine moments between the two men, Spartacus and Bodiatus, where he's thankful for what Spartacus has done for the house, and he lets Spartacus know that Sura is in transit as they speak. And at that moment, Spartacus is like, you honor me, you're a man of your word. And like I said, it was this genuine moment between them two. It was probably the only one throughout the series, but we did see it in this episode. And so at the same time, in this episode, Spartacus is taken down and he's got him some new armor, some new drip to show off for Sura when she comes in. And then, not to mention, he pounces on an opportunity to invite the magistrates and his son to the Ludus because his son is obsessed with gladiators, to have a sparring session with Spartacus. And this bodes so well for Bodiatus, because this is good for him politically and the aspirations he has outside of the Ludus. So, like, he's able to sit down and converse with the magistrate one-on-one, because the magistrate's a very busy person, but to get his time one-on-one, I mean, he's very thankful for Spartacus for doing that. But like I said, Spartacus has alternative motives because, like I stated in the intro, he has a plan of escape going on. And a lot of that is influenced because when he's named champion, he gets his own quarters. Enemaeus shows him, and he starts talking about, because he's heard the good news, Sora's coming. So he's like, "Yay, is there any way I can get some candles? Because my baby, she likes candles." And Enemaeus breaks the news to him that, like, she won't be staying here. She'll be in the villa, and it lets Spartacus know you're still a slave. So that right there, put the chip in his head, like, I gotta escape, because he can't wait. He's not trying to have his wife in any more servitude than she has to be. The horror she's probably already had to deal with. So his thing is he wants to get out. And so, like I said, they're down there. He's got the armor. And then he starts talking to Varro about, this is my plan of escape, because he can't talk to anybody else about it. And Varro countering everything Spartacus says. And then, Spartacus has a counter to him. But there's one thing that Spartacus didn't have a counter for at the time, and something he was overlooking is none other than Enemaeus. And so that's something that he has to think about. Now, Spartacus had everything else covered. He asked Bodiatus to take some of his winnings to get women and wine for the men, which the guards would partake it as well. So everybody's going to be distracted. So his final solution is he's got to figure out a way to get Emmaus out of the way. And the way he does is he wants to offer Emmaus a drink. Now, not just any drink. He goes down to visit Crixus, who is with the Medicus, and he ends up opening one of Crixus's wounds. But before he does that, he does show respect to Crixus for standing with him, and he addresses Crixus as a brother. But he opens up his wound to get the get the Medicus distracted, and he takes some of, I don't know what it is, but whatever he uses to keep him asleep, he takes some and puts it in a drink for Emmaus. Now, the key was to get Emmaus to have a drink, which was hard because Emmaus is a man who doesn't drink. And eventually he's able to talk him into it. Emmaus takes a drink and he falls down like a tree in the woods. He's done. He's out. So right now, Spartacus' plan is running very well. So it's a great time. It's a great time. Now, someone who's not having a good time is, of course, Asher. Now, if you guys didn't remember, Asher took a bet from Barca, who put money down on Crixus and Spartacus, because he says, I never bet against Crixus. And they ended up winning big. And so the big thing for Barca is he's trying to stack his coins because him and his boy Petrus, his lover, their freedom's gonna be purchased and they're both gonna leave. And it's so like just hearing them talk about their freedom, like everything they're gonna do, what they can't even figure out what they want to do. They're just like, we're gonna leave and we're just gonna go. So of course, Asher is getting pressed by Barca, like, hey, where's my money? Like, and it's like, you better have my money or it's gonna be hell to pay. So Asher is against it. And so we catch a scene whenever Petrus questions Barca about the boy, the magistrate's cousin's son, when they went and massacred everybody. Barca tells him, look, I didn't harm the boy. I took him outside the city and it'll be days before anybody finds him. Of course, Asher is eavesdropping on that conversation. So once again, Asher's like, got to come up with a plan because Barker's going to end up fucking killing him because he doesn't have the money. So what Asher ends up doing is he ends up tracking down an associate, makes a deal with the associate. What the associate ends up doing is hiring a man to be a courier. Now, when the magistrate and his son are at the villa, this courier shows up with news of, hey, your relative is alive. And so, right then and there, that's going to leave a sick pit in the stomach of Badiatus because he's going to feel that Barca has betrayed him because he told him he killed him. And so, him and Lucretia, they're having a back and forth. And so, of course, Asher just happens to slide on in. Oh, I hear, Barker would betray you? Huh, I would never expect Barca to do that. Barca to portray you. And so what ends up happening is he tells them, hey, I heard him talking to Petrus, and he was telling them about, they're talking about their freedom. And the best way to figure out the answer to that is to ask Petrus. So Petrus gets summoned and, unknowingly tells, them what Barker told him. He's like, no, he didn't kill the boy. The boy was on the trail. And of course, Badiatus is not thrilled about that. And so basically, Badiatus orders a code red on Barca. So they bring Barca in and, they start asking Barca questions like, hey, that loose end, what happened? And he's like, I took care of it. I squeezed the life out of him. And they tell him, well, your boy Petrus says something different. And right then, Barca knows the jig is up. And so, the, you know, uh, they end up getting violent, it gets bloody, and ultimately the beast of Carthage is taken out and he gets his throat slit. And of course, the parting words that Badiatus tells him is, now you're free. Cuts his throat, and Barca is dead. But something we find out later in the episode is that Barca actually did kill him. The magistrate reveals that No, my relative, he was amongst the burning ashes. They found the body. So like Barca did kill him. He just didn't want to tell Petrus because he was afraid that Petrus would look at him differently if he found out he killed a child. And so you find out that Asher, all of that was set in motion by Asher. Like, say whatever you will, he's a fucking cockroach piece of shit. But hey, that was pretty fucking smart to pull that off, to pull that shit off. I have to give it to him. He pulled it off. So, of course, everything is in motion. Spartacus' plan is working to a T. Everybody is getting drunk. They're losing their minds. And Sura, she shows up, but then at the same time, Enemaeus awakes, like, and he knows. Enemaeus immediately knows some fuckery is afoot. He knows what's going on. This was not no regular wine. This motherfucker slipped me a Mickey. And so you see him walking, and Varro tries to, hey, and he just pushes Varro out of the way. And like I said, Spartacus has the armor on. Enemaeus puts two and two together, like this motherfucker's about to try to escape, and I'm not having it. And so we go to the guy who's in charge of the stagecoach or whatever, and he's bloody. And you can tell they were attacked, but you don't see Sura. And Spartacus runs to the back, he opens it, and she is wounded. Looks like she took something to the chest, an arrow, maybe a knife wound to the chest, and she's bleeding out. And she's able to set eyes on Spartacus one last time, and she passes away, showing that the prophecy came fulfilled. She told him, "You have to get to me before the rains." And it really makes you think when he reveals Badiada's reveal. I told you that his cruelty, full display, reveals to Lucretia that, yeah, well, now they're reunited. I said I would reunite them. So he was behind the attack. And a lot of it had to do, I believe, with the Barca situation, because he knows that he can make a lot of money off of Spartacus, more than he could have made off of anybody. He doesn't want to lose that cash cow. He knows Spartacus is the kind of type that's going to eventually make his money and get the fuck out of there. He's not like a Crixus who's a lifer that's not going anywhere. So if he eliminates Sura, and if Spartacus isn't wise to what's going on, and these two have, made, honored each other, he thinks, Spartacus will go all in with him. And so, like I said, it just goes to his just, man, 1 minute, Badialis can be like a really cool dude, and then he could just turn it on like that and become just vicious and brutal. And so, yeah, guys, that's basically it with this episode. Now, I haven't given my score. New to the channel, scoring system is 0 to 5, zero being trash and five being a masterpiece. Guys, I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5. I thought this was a great episode, and this is a key turning point in the show. I believe this episode and a couple more episodes are just, this is setting Spartacus on his path. And I believe in it may be 2 episodes, his path will fully be set when he finally decides enough is enough. But yeah, it's been a nice journey. So that's it, guys. Like I always say, if it's for 1 minute, 5 minutes, or the whole damn video, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to view my content. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe, smash the like, get in the comments, hype the video if it's available. And guys, I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.